Howdy champs, my name is Mohit and welcome to part 2 guys. I'm happy you continued through part 1 and you're here in part number 2. First things first, let me show you a published preview and refresh your memory. Guys, here goes Control Enter on the keyboard. Okay, now I'm sure most of you are surprised who are watching part number 1. I spent some time, I put on my designer's cap. As I said, I'm not a designer, I don't have a very good aesthetic sense, but I could, whatever I could manage in Adobe Fireworks, I did that. Now these are different set of buttons. They have the drop shadow filter, they also have the bevel filter, and everything was done entirely in Adobe Fireworks. Okay, I brought them over out here, and inside the flash interface I gave them the glow filter. Okay, up front guys, have a look out here as I hover over each of these buttons. The first two pictures, actually you can see the brightness change by 40%, but nothing happens. Even if I click on the next to the previous buttons, nothing happens because up front I've disabled them. You don't need the next and the previous buttons to fire unless and until you actually press the play button. Why would you actually want to do that, right? So here's the play button. The artist is unknown, the track is first track, next track, third, fourth, back to the first, second. I'll let it play now so that I'll show you it actually goes to the second track, third track automatically. Fourth track should go automatically to the first one. Exactly. Right. So the only difference between the last tutorial and this one is that I've actually made it more aesthetic. The action script is just the same. So I promised you I'll actually take you through the action script. Let me open up the actions panel, guys. Okay, guys, I've actually created a variable my songs. Now this variable my songs is the list of all these songs, right? The data type is XML list. So this may probably be the first time you're coming across the data type XML list. So this variable will pull up the data from the XML file and put the list of the songs out here. Okay, I've created yet another variable my total. Now this variable my total is calculating the number of songs that are there inside the XML file. So in case you have mentioned that you just have 4 songs or 5 songs or 10 songs, so basically the number of total songs that you have inside your XML file, which actually match the songs or the music clips put inside the audio file as well. Okay, the audio file or the audio folder which is housing or containing all the audio clips should match the XML data as well, the XML file. Correct. Okay, obviously since it's a sound tutorial, MP3 player has to be a sound tutorial, I have to use the sound class. So what I've done is I've created a new instance of the sound class out here. So variable my sound, data typing it to sound, but I have not given it any value. I need to play the sound in the sound channel. I don't know how many of you are actually comfortable with the sound class, but if you're not, guys, I have a tutorial on play, pause, stop button. I don't know how many of you have actually gone through this kind of a tutorial which has all these 3 buttons. If there are any, there are not many. So what you can do is you can type my name, first name, last name, Mohit Manuja, and just type play, pause, stop button, and go through that tutorial to understand in detail how that kind of functionality actually works. So you'll get a much better idea, and then come back to this tutorial in case you're not very comfortable with the sound class. In fact, I must have around 8 to 10 tutorials only on the sound class, guys. Play pause buttons, the play stop buttons, the mute buttons, the sound sliders, I've done around 10 to 12 probably. I'm not so sure how many, never counted, but yeah, around 10 to 12 tutorials only on the sound class. Right, so please go through them, come back to this tutorial in case you don't understand, you're not comfortable with the sound class. Okay, so you need a sound channel to play the sound class. Right, let's examine line number 6. It creates, or I declare a variable current song, and the data type is number, of the type number, and make it equal to 0. There's nothing much to understand out there. I've created yet another song position, and the type is number again. Another variable, song paused, it's a boolean. Booleans can have a value of either true or false. Okay, so there's nothing much to explain so far. Now line number 10, now that's important. I've created a variable my XML loader of the type URL loader and made it equal to a new URL loader. I've created a new instance of the URL loader class. What's different between the loader class and the URL loader class? With the help of the URL loader class, guys, you can fetch or pull the XML files. Through the loader class you can pull Swift files, the image files, but the binary data you can pull through the URL loader class. That's the difference. Okay, then I've used the load method to load inside the empty container or the vessel and requested for the playlist.xml. So if you've actually watched the first part of this tutorial, you remember that I'd created a playlist.xml file. It's requesting for that, right? The flower file is in this is in the same place where the Swift file is, and the same place where the XML file is, right? In line number 12, what I've done is I've added an event listener to the XML loader of the type complete. So when the event is actually complete, which means that when the playlist.xml has loaded inside the my XML loader, I would want a function called process XML to be executed. Since it's a function name, it could have had a different name too. It's something that you and I choose. Okay, let's see exactly what happens inside the function process XML. Inside which I've created or declared yet another variable my XML. Now the data type is XML, and I made it equal to a new XML which is fetching event.target.data. So basically this variable my XML is going to fetch the data that is lying inside the XML file. In fact, what I can do is I can use the trace statement out here. So trace and my XML, control enter. Okay guys, this is the output panel. So you can see that it's pulled the data from inside the XML file and it's showing in the output panel out here. This is exactly how the XML file looked, if you remember, in part number 1. Cool. So what I can do is, let me just get rid of the line, and if you remember in line number 17, this variable my songs, I made it equal to my XML, which is something that I just shown you, dot songs. Now there's a difference between my XML and my XML dot songs. This variable is gonna only show you the list of the songs. What I can do is I can show it to you through the trace statement. Now this trace statements not only shows you my XML dot song, it also shows you my songs dot length. Okay, in fact, let me hit Control Enter. You'll understand it a lot better. Okay, so there is the output panel. You see the playlist tags have gone. The data is pertaining only to the songs. So we know that there are 4 songs and this is the total length. Okay, so the total length is all about how many songs are there. So we have 4 songs, and this is the song data. The track 1, track 2, track 3 and track 4 lying inside the audio folder. The title is this, the artist is unknown or random or super generic or XYZ, right? So a subtle difference when it comes to the variable my XML and my songs. Cool. Let me comment it back. Right. Okay. Since the loading is complete for the my XML loader, I'm removing the event listener so that it's not too much of a task for the processor and the memory of your computer system. It's always a good idea, and I'm also making it null, so freeing the extra memory and the processing resources. Cool. Now after which, after line number 27, people, everything that follows is an ActionScript 3 program for the previous button, for the next button, for the play button, the pause button. So for people who know the sound class, who understand the sound class very well, don't even need to go through what I'm going to talk about now. And if you're not good with the sound class, I would urge you to go through my tutorials. I've done, as I said, 10 to 12 tutorials only on the sound class, the play button, the pause buttons, the play pause buttons, the play stop buttons, the mute buttons, the sound sliders. I've done quite a lot of tutorials, guys. So please go through them and come back to this tutorial, because unless and until you understand the sound class well, you're not going to understand what I'm going to talk about now. Okay, now the first thing that will happen once the XML data loads, okay, when all the data is available to you, now you need to process that data through the ActionScript. We have pulled the data from the XML file through the URL loader class. Now we need to process it. The first thing that the user does is he hits the play button. So what we have done is we've added an event listener to the play button. The play button has been given an instance name of play_btn. So when somebody clicks, I would want a function called onPlay to be executed. Let's see what is exactly inside the onPlay function. The first thing upfront I would want is that I would want the prev and the next buttons to be enabled. I beg your pardon. I had actually disabled them for some reason earlier. I'm enabling them back. I enable the prev and the next buttons, which are responsible for taking us to the next or the previous songs. But I would want that to happen only when somebody clicks on the play button. Unless and until somebody clicks on the play button, it makes no sense that these two buttons should be enabled. So mouse enabled property I had set off earlier, but I'm setting it on again. Then I'm checking if song is paused. Guys, remember that I'd created a variable song paused of the type boolean out here. When somebody clicks on the pause button, it becomes true. Beg your pardon. I'm checking if song paused underscore paused is true. That happens inside the play underscore button routine, guys. See out here. If it is paused, I would want the sound to play inside my channel starting the song position. Now song position is actually the position where the song was paused. You will understand this much better once we take you through the play underscore button event listener. Once I take you through the pause button details, you'll understand this much better. But to keep it very simple, if somebody hits the play button and the song is paused, it will play the song inside the channel, the sound channel, from the position which is this position where it was paused. Now this position, song underscore position, is the same. See, this variable was declared out here and was captured out here. This is the same position where the song was actually paused. It's a variable of the data type number. After which, guys, what I've done is I've added an event listener to my channel, okay, of the type sound complete. So when the song or this music clip is complete, I would want a function called on next to fire, which we'll look at a little later. Once you play the song or the music inside the channel, I would want the boolean. Now a booleans can acquire only two values, true or false, to turn itself from a true to a false, right? Else I'm checking if there's nothing inside the channel, there's nothing loaded inside the channel at all. I would want a function called play song to fire, depending on what the current song is. Now current song is the same as 0 initially, so I would want a function called play song to fire at 0. Now what is this function play song? This is the function play song, and this is a variable my song of the type number, which will then acquire the value 0. This value 0 will be thrown to this variable. This variable will catch the value 0. This is the way it actually works, and then execute the function in accordance with 0, the number 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. Okay, we have created 3 more variables, or declared 3 more variables: my title, my artist, and my URL. Now what they do is they go to the XML file, and if you remember, my song is initially 0. So what they do is my underscore songs, now let me show you what my songs is the XML list of all the songs, and at index number 0, people, this is, you see, this is the song at index number 0, this is the song at index number 2, this is the song at index number 3, and this is the song at index number 4, or this is the audio or the music clip at index number 4. This is how the XML files actually understand the data and we will fetch the title of it. So the first time we will be fetching the first song, and the title is first track. When this becomes 1, the title is the second track, then the third track, and then the fourth track. Cool. Line number 84 says, please go inside the XML file. My songs is the XML list at index 0 or index 1 and pull the artist. Line number 85 says, please go inside the XML playlist, which is my songs, at index number whatever 0, 1, 2, 3, and pull the URL. Now URL is really important for us. The URL is but the track name. What is the track name? Since it can pull it up, it can show the artist and the tracks out here. Cool. Sorry. Right. And then these are the text fields on the stage, guys, that I've just shown you. Through the text property, I'm displaying the title of the song oblique the music clip in those text fields. Okay. What happens if I load if I execute the function play song? It also checks if there's actually something inside the channel, there's something playing in the channel. If it is, then it stops it through the stop method, so that it can play again. You need to stop something to play something again. Just in case if there's something inside the channel, stop it. Then I'm making the variable my sound equal to a new sound. See, this was a variable that I'd created up here. Okay. Then using the load method, I'm loading my URL, and my URL is audio track 4, audio track 3 in the audio folder, track 3.mp3 or 4.mp3 or 1.mp3 or whatever. I'm requesting for the external URL, and then I'm playing it inside the channel. I'm also adding to the channel, my channel, that is my underscore channel, an event listener of the type sound underscore complete. And then I would want, once the sound is complete, the first music clip is complete, to go to the second music clip. If the second music clip is through, then go to the third one. If the third is through, go to the fourth one, so on and so forth. Right. So what we are left with is this function on next. We are also left with the next and the previous buttons. Okay. So let's see exactly what is this function on next. Now upfront, the moment I test the FLAR file or export the Swift by hitting Control Enter, I would want the prep button and the next buttons to be disabled by setting the mouse enabled property off. Give me a minute. Just expanding the view. Okay, let's talk about line number 32. So upfront, the prep button, which is responsible for taking you to the previous song or the previous music clip, and the next buttons are disabled. In line number 34, people, what I've done is I've added an event listener to the next button, and if somebody clicks on that button, I would want a function called onNext to fire, to execute. Let's see exactly what is this function onNext. The first thing it would want you to do is change the current underscore song variable by 1. This used to be 0 out here. So when somebody clicks on the button next next underscore button, please increment it by 1. So if it was 0, it becomes 1, and then check if the current song is greater than or equal to my total. Now my total was a number which we fetched out here, is basically 4 is equal to the number of songs in the XML or the audio folder. So we check if the current song is greater than or equal to 4. If it is, we reset it to 0. That is how the looping happens. You go from the first to the second, second to the third, third to the fourth, and back to the first. This is responsible for the looping. If it is, make current song variable equal to 0. And line number 40 says, please play song function, depending on what the value of the current song is. Now where is this function play song? Right here at the bottom. So we fire this function play song depending on what the value of my song is. So my song could be 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. Right. And let's see what exactly is prev_btn. So we've added an event listener to the previous button as well. When somebody clicks on the previous button, we decrement the value of the current song by 1. We check if the current song, if you remember, current song was upfront 0. We check if it is less than 0. If it is, we make current song equal to my total, which is 4 in our example, minus 1. And then we play the song according to what the value of the current song is, which could be 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever. And where is this function play song? I'm sure you got it by now. It's right at the bottom of the script. Here it is. So this my song acquires or captures the value 0, 1, 2, etc., etc. Now why are we decrementing and incrementing the values of the current song in lines 36 and 46? That's because I would want to go to the previous and the next songs. Very simple, right? So guys, let's sum it all up. First, we capture all the data from an external file, which is an XML file. Now that XML file corresponds to all the music clips lying inside an audio folder. The name of the XML file is playlist.xml. We fetch all the data, we load all the data inside the XML Loader variable. Once the loading is complete, I unregister the event in line number 26 and I make it equal to a null. Now all the data that I need is inside these two lines, my XML.song and the total number of songs. Then what I do is, since I've captured and processed all the data lying inside playlist.xml, I then make functions for the next button, the previous button, the pause button and the play button. Cool. And so it works to a perfection, guys. Maybe in fact, in all probability, this script is quite difficult. The level is a little difficult. It's of the level intermediate. If it is and it didn't make much sense to you, you can go to my website http://qualitylessons.net /downloads and get the FLAR file and the other assets from there. Replace the audio files or the music clips lying inside my audio folder. Replace it with your own. Make alterations to the XML file as I'd explained in part number 1 of this tutorial, and you're actually done. So before I sign off, guys, let me hit Control Enter to export the SWIFT or test the movie. This is the play, this is the pause button. These two buttons will be enabled only once I hit the play button. So people, I hope you like this tutorial, learn something from it, and I hope to see you very soon with the yet another Flash and ActionScript 3 tutorial. Or it could be Dreamweaver as well. You have a good day, guys. Bye bye. Peace.